tools to help you become successful in your cloud journey, especially with Google Cloud. Before we start, I only have a few, house rules that I would like everyone to support us today. So the section will be divided in two parts. The first 15 minutes will be the presentation from our speakers, and there will be live demo section, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A at the end. We will be appreciate if you can mute your audio throughout the presentation. And if you have any question, please, put your question to our speaker in the group chat. So if you are familiar with Meet, you already know how to put the question in the chat box, right? But if you don't, then if you look at the bottom right corner of the Meet of the screen, you will see a square icon that you can drop the message in there and to saying hello so that everyone knows where to put your message. And there will be some poll questions from our speakers. So during the presentation, and you will be able to, give us your answer. And if anyone is familiar with Korean drama, you probably know Squid Game, right? And you will be able to see the icon, square, triangle, and circle at the top, at the bottom right. When we launch the poll, there will be a pop-up on your screen to give you the answer, give you the questions. Yeah, thank you everyone for putting your hello to the group chat. And at the end of the webinar, we will have a survey for all of you so that we can understand your feedback for our webinar today. And if you have any ideas on the topics that you would like to hear more from Google and Cloud Kinetics, please do share with us as well. And don't worry about the recording of the section because we will be publishing it to our website later next week. And I don't want to keep you any further longer. I would like to hand it over to our webinar host today, Mr. Haji, the Group CEO of Cloud Kinetics, to start the section. Over to you, Haji.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate, you kicking this off for us. Let me just take a moment and introduce our fantastic speakers. Folks, are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet, Haji.
Okay, let me just bring this up. Okay. All right, are you able to see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, welcome everybody to our webinar today. It gives me great pleasure to kick this webinar off with the support. I'm Group CEO of Cloud Kinetics. I'm delighted to be here because I'm pleased that we could have Google and the Google team join us. I'm an ex-Google Cloud leader and became Group CEO of Cloud Kinetics late last year. So it's a pleasure to have Google co-hosting this with us. And we have really two fantastic experts that are here. Hopefully, what you'll find is that this is a really, really valuable session for all of you. So great pleasure to introduce Travis, who is the APAC lead for the GCP business for SMB and mid-market. He joins us from Australia today. And then our resident in-house expert for data, our solutions architect, Chirag Nayar. And with these two folks, my job is very easy. I just have to kick this off and hand over to the experts. But before I do that, I wanted to maybe just share just a few thoughts that I had. Firstly, I think we all know that the world is moving to really data-driven businesses. And it's increasingly becoming so with the advent of COVID. If anything, data-driven business models are accelerating over the last 20 months. And I think it's pretty clear that businesses that have their underlying differentiation based on data are increasingly growing at a faster rate than businesses that do not have underlying differentiation through data. And if you were to use just yesterday's example of Google's results showing that the original data company Google's result continuing to accelerate, revenue not slowing down, but accelerating, is a great example of a data-driven business that continues to see benefit and advantage even during these very, very difficult times. I think the second part that I wanted to just share with you regarding this webinar is that, ultimately it's all about talent and capability. We're all trying to build our skills and capabilities around data, and in the past it has been quite hard. Gone are the days where you have to set up your server, you have to provision your instance, you change the reliability, you have to go to scale up or scale down depending on your requirements. Now with the new offerings or with the offerings that are available on platform as a service with BigQuery, it's very easy to actually program your different requirements for analyzing your data and to be able to get the most out of your data warehouse and to be able to build it really quickly. So this platform as a service model is certainly an enabler of acceleration of data-driven businesses. And then the last point is, I'm sure you've seen a tremendous amount of materials on the value of data, how you can make data work for you in your business. That's a very small portion of what we're going to talk about today. Today's session is really about a practitioner's guide. How do you really do it? Let's forget about the marketing fluff. Let's go into the reality of how we're going to make this happen. And so what you're going to see is 3 demos that are real use cases, real world scenarios that hopefully as practitioners we can then take back to our respective businesses and apply, so that we can then make that jump to a modern data business and modern data warehouse. With that, the agenda is going to start off with sharing a little bit more about data-powered innovation. We will share with you a little bit around what are the characteristics of modern data analytics. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we'll jump to the respective demos. Before I hand over to our experts, just a little bit about Cloud Kinetics. We are a company that has been established in 2012. We are a private equity-backed cloud managed service provider. Our major investor is I2 Capital, which has $30 billion of funds under management. We are increasingly the top 3 cloud MSP across the Southeast Asia and India regions. We are fortunate to have had 8 offices worldwide, and we have 3 network operation centers and 2 delivery centers that are in this region. And we are really, really proud to be a premier partner for Google Cloud with expertise around various parts of the Google Cloud offering set. We take great pride in the fact that we are focused on cloud. That's what we do. We wake up in the morning thinking about cloud. We go to sleep at night thinking about cloud. And we help facilitate cloud transformation on behalf of our customers. And we really take pride in the fact that we continue to develop more and more skills so that we can bring real world solutions for our clients. Now, with that said, without further ado, with a little bit of drum roll, over to you, Travis from Google Cloud.
Thanks so much, Haji. It's great to be here today with the Cloud Kinetics team and the business leaders who've joined us today. Can everyone see my screen that I'm just presenting now? Just as a double check.
Yes, Travis.
Yep. Okay. Fantastic. Awesome. So yeah, as Haji mentioned, my name's Travis Rath. I'm the SME account management team lead for Google Cloud APAC. Today, I'm going to be talking about a really important topic of how to accelerate data-powered innovation, including the imperative for data-powered innovation, some of the key challenges that enterprises face, and how Google and Cloud Kinetics can help with some examples. I'm very excited to see Chirag's live demos coming up next, and may the demo gods be with you, Chirag.
Sure. Thanks.
When talking with customers across APAC, top of mind for our clients is how they can best respond and innovate their way into a post-COVID-19 world. The last 2 years has led to unprecedented market shifts and presented great opportunities for organizations to adapt and reshape their businesses. It's also elevated the need to understand and extract actionable insights from business data. Accelerating the velocity and scale of such data analysis is critical to succeed in the face of these unprecedented market shifts, whether it be to understand rapidly changing customer behaviors, to identify efficiency improvements, or to spot new market opportunities and risks. Boards of directors now place data and AI as their number 1 and 2 priorities. They are also the top game-changer technologies critical for organizations to emerge stronger from the COVID-19 crisis. These are ranked above cloud computing, blockchain, augmented reality, and even quantum computing. So while the data opportunity is well understood and agreed, 68% of companies are unable to realize tangible and measurable benefits from data. By 2025, there will have been a 530% increase in the amount of enterprise data from 2018 volumes from 33 zettabytes to 175 zettabytes. And more than 25% of this data will be real-time in nature. Additionally, data breaches are common. Rogue data sets propagating in silos, and companies' data technology often can't manage all of this. From a strategic perspective, almost all data analytics leaders we meet struggle with the challenge of scaling infrastructure, finding critical talent, improving costs, and ultimately managing the growing expectation to deliver valuable insights. It's difficult to address these business critical challenges overnight, which is why we partner with companies to adopt a long-term approach that fosters a data-driven culture alongside a coherent strategy, platform, and partnership for organizing, governing, analyzing, and deploying data. So what does a data-powered platform for innovation look like? Well, there's 3 key areas. Firstly, databases, where data is born, stored, and served. Secondly, smart analytic solutions, such as data warehouses and data lakes, where you can understand the past and present. And finally, ML tooling, where you can move from historical and real-time analysis into predicting and automating the future. Preferably, all of these components are in one place for operational and architectural simplification. Today, we're going to focus predominantly on the second component, smart analytic solutions, and in particular, data warehousing. But let us know if you'd like to cover these other topics in a future webinar with Cloud Kinetics. Moving to the technical perspective, traditional data warehouses are causing a ton of pain as they're unable to keep up with today's analytics demands. Firstly, traditional data warehouses cannot scale up fast enough to keep up with data growth. There's tremendous complexity with scaling on demand, and this is compounded with the inability for incumbent technology to keep up with data growth. Secondly, data is not fresh or current enough, damaging trust in the data. And traditional data warehouses were built for a batch paradigm and not for today's world, where by 2025, a quarter of data will be streaming in nature. Sounding familiar? Thirdly, data access restrictions inhibit data sharing and collaboration. Fourthly, legacy data warehouses are extremely expensive to purchase and maintain. And last but not least, traditional data warehouses don't support machine learning and AI initiatives. You need to move data out of your data warehouse into complex and fragile niche systems. We believe there's a simpler model. Do everything in your data warehouse in the familiar SQL dialect. Google Cloud is addressing these challenges by simplifying big data analytics. First and foremost, by providing serverless analytics solutions. A great example of this, as Haji mentioned, is BigQuery, and which Chirag is going to demo very shortly. With Google serverless data analytics solutions combined with the expert team at Cloud Kinetics, we eliminate the need of systems engineering from the data analytics workflow so that you can focus 100% of yours and your team's time on data analysis, removing the need to hire teams focused on operational tasks such as resource provisioning, performance tuning, deployment, and configuration. All of these activities that consume time and resources, but don't really help you capture the value for your organization. In addition to serverless solutions, when choosing a data-powered innovation platform, there are some other key areas to look out for. These are, firstly, You need a platform that empowers analytics across the entire data lifecycle. You need a comprehensive set of core data analytic workloads, from data warehousing to streaming data analytics, to data processing preparation, to business intelligence, to AI and ML. Rather than one-off solutions, you need to look at the analytics stack much more holistically. This will simplify things greatly for you. It helps you break down silos, power apps, add read-only data sets, and make query results accessible to everyone. Secondly, a platform needs to enable you to embed ML into your data analytics. A platform that allows you to operationalize machine learning end to end. Machine learning training and prediction is just one part of the puzzle. Organizations need to seamlessly collect, store, transform, process, and prepare data for ML. A platform that deliberately makes ML lifecycle simpler so that organizations can derive value from their ML initiatives faster. Thirdly, open source. Stick to open source wherever possible, please. This increases your future flexibility and portability as technology paradigms shift over time. This is also closely aligned to Google's heart. Open source has always been at our core here at Google, and we enable the best open source technologies to give you flexibility and choice in your data analytics projects. Finally, you need a platform that's proven and can grow with you, suitable for enterprises at any scale. It's these same reasons that industry leaders are using Google Cloud for data modernization. Let's talk a bit more about them. Home Depot, accelerated time to value. They are able to empower business units to create their own BigQuery projects. They reduce their dependency on IT budgeting for additional data warehousing capacity, and this has resulted in wider adoption of the platform and faster time to value. Zulily now gets instant insights with real-time analytics. Zulily is an online retail company in USA, and they launch more than 9,000 new SKUs every day in their online store. Zulily is able to analyze product performance and pricing data in real time now, and make changes to their online merchandising and pricing in a much more agile manner. This has improved Zulily's online conversion significantly. We all know 20th Century Fox. They're now able to realize the power of advanced and predictive analytics. As a global movie studio, they're able to operationalize ML using simple SQL. They use this to create customer segmentation and targeting strategies for their new movie releases in a matter of days. Their marketing analysts are able to execute on this project with ease and reduce dependencies on their lean data science team, which are hard to attract, retain. AccuWeather now shares data insights at scale. As a global leader in the weather data analysis, AccuWeather offers weather data to thousands of businesses. BigQuery allowed AccuWeather to create datasets and easily share the read-only datasets to their customers worldwide in a secure and transparent manner. This eliminated the need for costly FTPs and file transfers. AccuWeather is updating their data in one place, and their customers are able to access that data in real time. We're also seeing a similar pattern from government agencies, world organizations, retailers, banks, and other businesses. Finally, HSBC protects highly confidential data and instills customer trust that is so critical in financial services. HSBC is a global bank, and security is a top priority for HSBC. They're using BigQuery, BigQuery's customer managed encryption key, data loss prevention, and cloud IAM to secure every single bit of their data. Before I hand over to Shrag for the live demos and some other information, don't just take my word for it. Google is widely recognized as a leader in data-powered innovation, leveraging our 20+ years of focus in this area. We're well positioned alongside the experts at Cloud Kinetics to be your data platform partners of choice. To help your organization navigate the opportunities and challenges of a post-COVID-19 world. Shrag will now walk us through some quick polls, technical demonstration, and more information on how we can get started together. So over to you, Shrag. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Travis. And let me start with, okay. So thank you, Travis and Haji, for sharing the insights around where the market going and the value of analytics in present day. And thank you everyone for joining. It's great to see you there. I love to always connect with the people and to see, understand where they are in their journey. So it always gives me immense pleasure to learn, to grow together. So before I'm going to share a small presentation as well as a few demos, I would like to share about the poll. So it will help us to understand that where you are in your data journey. So my colleague Ankita is going to start the poll, and you can see the poll. Either it will pop up on your screen right bottom, or there is a right bottom triangle, circle, and square is there. So from there you can also see the poll is there. So you can enter from there. And let me share one screen as well as the poll question. So so if everyone is able to see the poll, so the first question is, are all of your business decision data driven with dashboard in real time? So option is yes or no. So you can select whatever applicable in your use case, and we can wait for 30-40 seconds. After that, we will go to the next poll question. So it's all about like where you are in your journey, whether you are using any kind of BI tool. It may be an exact real time or near real time, or maybe still sometime the reporting happen in few hours according to the business requirement. So please select whatever appropriate. Okay, so I think this poll ended, and there are almost 10 people selected. Their businesses are taking the meaningful insight from the data to drive their business decision, and few are saying no. Great. So now the second question is coming in the same panel, the right side. How much time is taken by your business critical report? In few minutes, in few hours, or in few days? So again, you can select any one of the option according to your business reporting, whether it is taking time in minutes, in hours, or in days. Again, let's wait for a few seconds and the result will be published. Okay, I think we can end this poll now. Okay, it's kind of a mixed match. Like few people are having their reports are getting generating in few minutes, and few are in like mostly are in few hours. That's great, and few are still in few days. So yeah, that's where this modernization concept and smart analytics will come into picture. And now the last poll, because we don't want to bring so many polls, just a last one. So it is on your screen now. What is your current data lake, data warehouse size? So data leakage is just you are collecting the raw data and storing it, but not doing any analytics. And data warehouses, it is like a source of truth for your clean data from which your businesses are getting meaningful insight. So it is less than 100 gig. It's between 100 to 1 terabyte. And if it is more than 1 terabyte, so again, select the option, whatever the relevant with your business and use case. I think we can end now. And great, again, it's a mixed match, but yeah, good to see that people are having more than terabyte. Obviously nowadays terabyte is nothing. We all have such amount of data in our mobile phone and in our, what I can say, the devices which we are surrounded by. So great. So let me start with the presentation. Just give me a second. Let me share the presentation part from here, and we can proceed further with that. And meanwhile, whatever the questions you will have, please feel free to drop in the chat. And after the presentation and demo, I will take the question and then we will proceed. Okay, and this one, and I believe my presentation is Travis, can you confirm that my presentation is visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So I just want to start with that we are living in the era of Industry 4.0, and data analytics is not again a new thing, but with this industry era, the new computational technology is there. Even the businesses are gathering the data from last 2 to 3 decades, or they are storing it maybe more than that from couple of decades, but they are not able to get the insights. That is where the digital transformation in this era is getting driven, and we are living in the world of IoT, where each one of us is having a multiple devices which is generating the data at a pace which was never before. And cloud computing, again, it's not a new thing. It's still a new norm because it is getting mature, entering in each and every industry, each and every business, and the tools are getting mature. As Travis touched upon the value proposition of GCP or Google Cloud Platform from their analytics point of view, as well as he showed some survey that from any CXO, their their analytics is the topmost priority. In cognitive computing, where we are talking about the machine learning, this is kind of becoming essential for each and every businesses. To start with the data services, as I mentioned, it's from last 2 to 3 decades. There was a time only a CXOs people were having access to see the report. That's where the descriptive that they just able to see that what happened in their business. And with the passage of time, with the passage and growing technology, we come to the phase of diagnostic, and where we will be able to find from our past data that why did it happen. According to that, the businesses are able to decide what will be the future or what kind of steps they need to take their business improvement. Like a very common example is the customer retention in most of the industry, that why the business is losing customer and what they need to do. Nowadays, with the newer technology, the next phase is predictive and prescriptive. What will happen, we can see from our data, and what should I do after taking or utilizing that data. So that is where the end-to-end now analytics phase is there, and Google is providing all those technology stack for each and every phase. Again, every business is at a different phase of their analytics journey. So we can't say that everyone is achieving end-to-end, but it depends upon everyone's journey is different. And that is where cloud Kinetics data surveys, like we have our practice, come into picture to understand the customer current scenario, what is their vision, and we help them, we work them, being as their partner. I always like say it's like after talking with the customer that it is a phased approach. It is not that just seeing the technology, just seeing the services on GCP, that solution is there. Every business has their different priorities. According to that, you can even see from the screen the 6-pointer. Your business may be lie on one of these. Static analytics, which is a very easy one, that the manual load in their analytics system and create a report. Batch pipeline, most of the businesses are following this, that they have a particular time where they run some scripts which will pull the data from the source, do some massaging, cleaning, and dump it to the analytical engine, which will be the source of truth for the next day of reporting. Now, as a deeper data insights, it's not only about just creating a report, but what else we can get it from this data. And that is where the new technology, the deep learning part, the Jupyter notebook, the people who are into the deep learning, and we can run the notebook, create the visualization using the Jupyter notebook. So that is where the deeper data insights will come into picture. Real-time analytics is like a hot cake. Every business wants that as quick as possible, whether it's a profit or if there is any kind of a business degradation, so that they can take a quick action. And I'm going to perform one demo around this area. And machine learning, as we know, it is growing and growing, and it is enhancing our business processes, our customer experience. And then the last one is enterprise data processing, because No longer the day we need to build a big cluster to do the cleaning, do the massaging, but now the data wrangling and all this is a part of any business process. That is where our data scientist will come into picture. Talking about the cloud native analytics, as Travis covered about the traditional analytics or data warehouse issues, the licensing and all this, that is what get rid by using the cloud native analytics, because it will scale, it will have the on-demand availability, and it comes with a predictable cost. Again, there is a multiple cost mechanism, which we can cover later in the Q&A, but it comes with the cost because we don't need to purchase or invest or procure any infrastructure here. We don't need to set up. It is come out of the box, and the most important part, it is serverless. So we don't need to deal with any operating system level binaries. It supports the both, whether you're streamline or batch or the real-time analytics and automated data delivery, end-to-end delivery of data from the source to the end user consumer can be automated. Open source technology, Google is a big endorser for the open source technology, and that is true on the GCP. So if you are already using the open source product in your existing workflow, it will be easy to adopt. You don't need to do a lot of enhancement, and that is where the CK will come into picture to consult that how your existing workload without making not too many changes can be migrated to GCP. And security is always a #1 question. I can tell you from my experience, since I started my career, it's a day zero question, and I have answered many times in a multiple way, as I also started learning more about the security. So security is end to end, whether it's a data at rest and data in flight. So it is already there, and compliances are also, it depends upon some geography and some specific industry vertical. So compliances are there. And futuristic technology, especially like this is a very unique feature about GCP, that in a single platform you can use for the multiple purposes, depend upon what your users or what your different team and department wants. So you don't need to move too much of data, because there was a day that we need to bring compute. Now with the commodity of hardware and the cloud platform, which is giving us a nearly infinite scale for the storage and computation, days are now that we need to bring the storage to the compute. And this is just, I would like to highlight, it is kind of one of my favorite, because in any analytics discussion, these are the common phases from collection of data, be it a real-time streaming or be it a batch, and how it is going to process, where it is going to store, where it is going to analyze, and what kind of BI tool you can use. So Google GCP is providing all the services on each and every phase. For streaming, there is a asynchronous messaging service known as PubSub, or if you are using open source Kafka, the same version can be used. You can ingest your data using Kafka or PubSub, and if you have a batch, we can move your cold data using the data transfer service or transfer appliance. If you have a workflow, we can run the same kind of your automation script, which will pull the data as per your schedule. And then the processing part is something which is very important, because I remember the days when setting up a Hadoop clusters will take weeks, but now no longer the time. On GCP, it will take 60 to 90 seconds. You will have a Hadoop cluster. The service name here is Dataproc, and you can scale it as much as you want. And there are few new services came into picture, like Data Fusion and Data Prep, which is again the GUI base, which will help you to do your ETL part. And if you are using Apache Apache Beam, there is a service named Dataflow. You can use the same code, whether it is written in Java or in Python, you can utilize. And then the store part, database, relational database, everyone love, and a data lake, where we need to store each and every data. It will help to get the meaningful insight. And BigQuery is also having a storage. Coming to the analyze phase, Dataproc, as I mentioned, is a Hadoop. Still, there is a very large community out there who loves Spark. and Spark is really the awesome technology, and Dataproc is giving the same feature out of the box. You can, as I mentioned, in the 60 to 90 seconds, you can have your own Spark cluster and you can scale as per the demand. And the BigQuery serverless analytical engine following the standard SQL and giving all the feature, be it a materialized view, be it any kind of enterprise data, traditional databases having, everything is covered here. And the BI segment, there are new kind of tools like Looker, which is acquired by Google and it is having a ML capability. But if you want to bring your own tool, whether you are using the very industry famous Tableau, this can work seamlessly with the BigQuery to create your reporting part. And then down there is something, the data catalog and the composer, because if you want to do the CI/CD in your data analytic workflow, that is where the composer come into picture, which is the implementation of open source Apache Airflow. So the same message I would like to adhere, I would like to focus that most of those open source technology which is used industry wide, it is coming as a managed service. You don't need to manage any kind of infrastructure here, and you need to focus on your business part. And before going to the demo, I will take another 2 minutes to share some success stories. As Travis covered about the GCP big names, so the same with as Cloud Kinetics is working closely with GCP, we have helped our customer to move their analytics workload and improve their process. So the first one, the customer belong to the finance industry, and they are providing loan also. So few years ago, it's not few years here, I would like to say like 18 to 24 months ago, they see a dip in their business, the customer retention, but they are not aware that how they can figure it out. They know they have a multiple data sources, the multiple traditional databases there, but they were not aware how they can utilize this. That is where the Cloud Kinetics jump into picture. Our team jump into picture. They analyze their problem statement, their existing workflow, and then we were able to design the solution for them. We created all the different data sources with the data lake. Again, all the security need to adhere because we don't want that one team will be able to play with the another team data unless it is not approved from the business side. We are able to create a unified analytics BI report, especially for their business owner as well as the management, so that it will be a real time. They know how they are going. And then we are able to bring the next phase. This was predictive one, the ML part, and they are able to see the better forecasting, whether the customer retention will be happen or not. And the important part is cost. The cost factor, obviously, directly and indirectly, it is improved, and they see a good TCO out of this, the adoption of cloud. And the another one, this is very close to my heart because from day zero, I'm working with this customer. They again belong to the energy and utility, and they want to modernize because not every industry is running with the same pace. So they want to modernize, they want to improve their user experience, but they stuck with the legacy technology. They are not able to even store the data more than 3 months. They need to purge, and losing a data means losing the customer. And we jump along with the team, and I work, as I mentioned, very closely. So we did the assessment of their entire workflow, understand the business process, and then we gave them the phase-wise approach along with the TCO. We designed their entire schema structure from the previous technology to the newer one, and we show them the queries, the result which they are trying to find on premises. The queries are getting failed even after running a few minutes to the nearby R. We were able to show that the query is successfully in the span of few minutes, and because it is churning a data of multiple terabyte and few billion rows were involved. These are the two case studies, and now I'm going to jump to the demo part. So what I will do in the demo, I will share what is the context of demo, then I will perform the demo. So here the feature which I would like to talk about is known as Federated Query, because most of the cases till date they are in a relational world and they are using their transactional database as their analytical engine. So if a business is not ready to transform right now and they want to leverage how GCP can help to improve their analytical process, that is where this feature came into picture. So in the example, just giving, let's say if you have a data lake, you can store it on a cloud storage, which is an object storage service, again, infinite scale, whether you have a terabytes or petabytes or maybe more than that, it can support. And we can use the cloud BigQuery, which is the analytical engine columnar storage database service. It can directly query on cloud storage, and whether your files are in JSON, Avro, Parquet. Parquet is obviously a very optimal format, and Avro is also a very industry standard format. We can directly, without changing and without dumping the data into the native cloud BigQuery storage. In my demo, what I have set up is MySQL. So in MySQL, I have a two tables, which is having one is having a 27,000 rows, another is a 20 million rows, and I will try to put some joins and order by, and I will try to show you. So let me share my screen, and I believe my console is here. So just to show that I am using the Cloud Shell, which is inbuilt the CLI in the GCP console. So I have login and I have created one Cloud SQL. Just to show, this is not a small one. It can give us 7,500 read and write kind of power, which is not easy to get, but here using the SSDs and everything. So my MySQL instance, which is a managed service, great for the transactional database. It is having a good power, and I already entered with my credential. Now let me run a few queries here. Let me show you that about my tables. As I mentioned, I have a movie database, and there are 27,000 movies. Name is there, and as well as around rating. So it will have a 20 million records. So I'm going to run one query to see that what will be the top 15 most watched movies and what is their rating. So I just paste my query here and just fire the query, and let's wait for a few seconds. And what do you think? What will happen? How much time it will take? A minute, a 2, a 10, or maybe an hour, or it will fail? Maybe you can drop this in the comment and let's see. We are just waiting for a few more seconds, and then maybe we can move ahead in the demo. So see, you can understand this is an anti-pattern for any RDBMS database. So that is where it is taking time, because it is having a lot of join and the group by, then order by, and it's not running. So if you are using your transactional database for your analytical purpose, it may impact your production operations. So I'm just terminating this, and I'm going to now BigQuery. So here what I have done is, in BigQuery, there is a feature, as I mentioned, the federated query. So I have created the external connection. So if you are playing, you can create again the external data source. It is non-native to BigQuery, and BigQuery is supporting Cloud SQL in the MySQL flavor as well as Postgre. And something new, if you are using some other cloud and you want to leverage the serverless analytical engine, you can use this BigQuery Omni feature. And Cloud Spanner is again the planet grade relational database, cloud native database, and it is a very great offering. So we can create the connection easily, as I have already created. Now I have saved, to save the time, I have saved few queries, and I'm going to run the same query, this time in BigQuery interface. So again, this is an external query. That is where these are some connection string, and rest is everything same, the group by, order by. And let's see, in the previous, it was failing. I have run it for even an hour. After that, it failed. You can even tweak your MySQL to give a maximum, but it is a very time consuming. But here in few seconds, we will see our result. So I am not changing any schema here. I'm just firing the query directly from BigQuery interface to my Cloud SQL running, which is having again a 20 million rows of the rating table and 27,000 rows for my movie table. And hope my demo daemon will support me today, because while doing the practice, it comes much quicker. Or let's see, here we go. So you can see we are able to see the result, and it only process around this much data. That is an important part also I will cover in the costing feature. But in 42 seconds, around this complex query has been ran, and it gave us a result. And I believe everyone loves Forrest Gump and all other movies we all watch. And if you have not watched, weekend is coming, go ahead, enjoy these movies. These are the most top rated movies. Okay, so this is just one feature. Now, if I want to move this data, which is having in my external system, I can make it as a native also. And again, it is easy, few DDL we need to write. And there is another feature came in this system. We can schedule, because we don't want every time we need to refresh manually. So there is a feature I would like to show, just like this is kind of a pulling the data, schedule query. I can schedule a query that after every 1 hour, the data will get update, refresh, and it will be available for native BigQuery. The point which I bring here is that no change in schema. It may happen you don't want to invest something new to set up the new analytical engine. You want to leverage your existing one. And that is what the feature out of box is. I have not create any big, it's simple connection and the same query, only the connection string I need to define. So now going to the next demo. If you have any question around this demo, again, you can drop in the chat. And here I'm going to the next demo. So this is everyone's favorite, real-time data ingestion, cleaning, and query. As I mentioned that it's a hot cake, everyone want to get as soon as. So what I have done is, it's again a scenario that I have a sensor data from San Diego, and it is checking, the sensors are collecting the information for each and every highway lane, from the fast lane to the slow lane, and how the cars are behaving and how the speed of car and all those things. And then it's end-to-end serverless. So our data is getting entered or ingesting through PubSub, which is an asynchronous messaging service. It can take millions of records simultaneously. And then the data flow, which is the implementation of Apache Beam. And I have a Java code in that, which is doing all the transformation, pulling the data from the PubSub and doing the transformation, and then storing it on the BigQuery. So this is what I'm going to perform. Just give me a second. Let me share my screen again. Let me start my Cloud Shell. So here I am, and let me see if I have, because I have closed, so it may happen sometime. The things change. So I'm going in my code folder. I'm not going to walk through a code. Maybe we can talk offline around the code. I'm just installing the PubSub library, and let me start my data. So what I can say, sensor data, and then I will walk through each and every step of PubSub and the other features. So here I'm going to start the data, and each and every 5 seconds, my sensor data, a few hundred events are getting sent to my PubSub queue. So I'm going to smaller this, going to PubSub to show that I have created a queue where my data is getting entered, and it is subscribed by my data flow. Again, data flow can be changed with some other ETL tool, again depend upon the business requirement, but showing the Apache Beam part is something because it is kind of a unified API, and it is present from quite a long time, and most of the businesses are using. So without any code change we can do. After a few seconds, we will see some activity here, because I just tested demo, what I can say, a day ago. Maybe if you want to see, it may show some activity. So the data will start entering into this PubSub queue, and then it will be pulled by my data flow, which is where my ETL process is defined. So data flow support both, whether it's a batch or whether it's a streaming. Here I just started my streaming one, and important part is it's serverless. Underneath, whatever the computational power is required, we can manually also define, but I just put in the auto scaling mechanism that whatever it will be required, and it will only get charged whatever the usage will be. So here you can see that this is the P collections in the world of Apache Beam. P collection steps, the first step is getting the message and I'm extracting the message. This 151 or the counter which you are seeing, this is the amount of events which is entering, and there is some windowing function defined and average sensor speed at a given time, and then it is writing it to my BigQuery. So here you can see from end-to-end ETL is defined, and it is cleaning the data and dropping into my BigQuery. So here I'm going to again my BigQuery, and let me select my table. Okay, so inside this data set, so this is the average speed. So this table came from, as I mentioned, that I have a Java code. So from there, this table is getting created while I created everything using the code. And we can preview the data, and it will show some timestamp, some longitude, latitude, highway, which direction, and speed. So I'm just going to query to show that in the real time how it is getting entered. Just closing this window and just running a small query here, select count star. So it will show the number of events or number of entries in my table now. So because the process is running, the data is getting through, you can see 28,620 right now, and still my sensors are sending a data of every 5-second interval. So let's wait for another 5-10 seconds, because we can tweak some speed factor again in the Apache Beam code, depend upon what frequency, whether you want a totally real time in a each second interval, or maybe in a micro batches. So everything is in our control. So let me try to fire again the count. Let's see if the new data is getting added. Here you can see that now we have on live 29,097 rows. So the same with now, let's say I want to run few queries again. I have saved few queries to save my time and everyone's time. So I'm going to run a query which is going to count how many sensors per lane. So okay, I just close this tab. I don't want too much rush. Okay, just let me do it again. Let me a little bit clean screen. I'm just selecting query, and I'm just firing this query, and let's see. So this data, this query is getting fired on real-time data. As soon as the data is getting updated, these numbers will change. So as per my query, that I'm just checking how many sensors in lane. So you can see lane number 4 is having 24,000, and so on and so forth. Now I want to run another query just to see that average speed in each and every lane captured by the sensor. So this is again the query, and I am firing on the real-time data, and here we will be able to see that it is processing only some data, and obviously lane 1 is a fast lane according to the San Diego traffic city rules. So the average speed is 76, and the lane 6 considered the slower one, that's where 65. So this is how the real-time data can be ingest, processed. And now if you want to go to the end phase, there is another tool out of the box known as Data Studio. So this is a previous offering, but still it is there if you don't want to use Looker or your own tool. Out of the box, free of cost, you can create the dashboard however you want. I'm not going to create the full-fledged dashboard, but hope you get the idea that you can put whatever the dimensions you want according to that. You can modify, share with your respective teammate. And so this is my second demo. Now coming to the last demo, just to show the power of BigQuery. So power of BigQuery. So here what I am doing is, there are data, as in the poll people mentioned that they have a data which is having in a few terabyte. So I'm going to use the same scenario, that I have a few terabyte of data, and I'm going to check. It is having a 10 billion of row. It is going to process, the BigQuery is going to process only 415 gig of data. So I'm just going to run quickly this query, and let's see in how many seconds this 10 billion rows is getting to process, and it is trying to find how many times in that 10 billion row the Google is mentioned. Again, it's in a regular expression, whether whatever the Google product in a different languages. So it is trying to process that. Let's wait for a few seconds, and here you can see in 20 seconds it processed 415 GB of data, and here is the result. Again, we can explore the data using BI tool, but the point here is it is processed. And next time if we want to run this query, once we run the query, there is a feature, something known as cache. So it will cache for 24 hours. You can share, you can create a view, you can share with your business, so that every time the query will be fired, it will not get processed from scratch. The first time it will from scratch. Here you can say 0 second, because it is showing the cache result. That is another important feature. The same, just a last one, it is 10x bigger now. So if I use 100 billion rows of data set for the same thing, just to find how many times in Wikipedia that Google is mentioned. So let's see how much time it is going to take. I understand that we are running out of time, but I will take another 5 minutes and then we will jump on the Q&A part. Because whenever I do a demos, and I always lost because I love all these things. And you can think of 100 billion queries, 100 billion row, and it is going to process almost 4+ terabyte of data. 4 TB plus data, and we are only going to pay for the data which is getting scanned. It is not that the entire, maybe if the total data set is 10 terabyte or maybe 20 terabyte. No. So that is the beauty of this serverless service, and it is automatically internally getting scaled. Hope now demo will show the magic, and I'm already past 1 minute, but trust me, running the 4 terabyte query on maybe the most powerful infrastructure also take that. Here it is automatically scaling. I have not select the dedicated compute. That is another kind of pricing mechanism and option. It is kind of on demand, it is running, and it happened in live demo. I was expecting in less than a minute, 58 or 59 seconds, but it is going more. Yeah, see the result. Let's wait for a few more seconds, and I trust. Okay, wow, this is the first time. Strange. I was, as mentioned, that I was expecting 58, 59 seconds, but yeah, see, the live can happen like this. The meaning of live demo is also like this. I think I have not messed with the query. Let me see if detail compute this. Okay. I don't think I have messed with the query, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, this time it took a little bit more time, but the result is here. So it processed 4.1 terabyte of data. It's 100 billion row. Overall data set is again more than 10 TB, and the result is here. So with that, my demo part is over, and I'm coming to the important that after seeing this, yeah, there's many questions will come into the mind, especially for the business owners and the tech people, that migration can be risky. You have a stable environment, you are okay to doing, even it is taking more time, few minutes to few hours, but how I can adopt this? That is where all these questions will, the migration will be complex. How quickly I can move? Can I trust the new data warehouse system? Where do I start? That is a big part. Will my migration be too costly? that is where Cloud Kinetics will come into picture. Along with Google, we will do the end-to-end from assessment to giving the TCO to proper design, that how and in which phases, in which manner we are going to help you to migrate. We are not looking for the customer, we are looking for the partners to build a long-term trust. As Haji mentioned about that, we are a born in cloud partner, and till date we are innovating with our customer whenever the new services are getting released from the GCP side. The takeaways are like, yeah, focus on time to value rather than just setting the infrastructure, and it will come with a lower TCO cost. Real-time analytics, as I showed the example. Even in BigQuery, if you are a SQL analyst, you can use machine learning, again, not going to the different service. You can write your model in the SQL, the famous SQL query language, and you will get the result. Data sharing and everything, if you want to create a view, share it with the specific team, only they can be able to see that. They will not able to play with the entire data set. And built-in data protection security, everything data at rest, all the services are internally secure, everything, every service is having the HTTPS endpoint. So we have come to the Q&A part. I will take the questions, but before that, please open your mobile camera. You can scan, you can fill the survey form, and I will put this on my screen. Meanwhile, I will try to read few questions from the chat. Just give me a second.
Yeah, hi Chirag. Thank you for your presentation and the live demo. It's really useful. I hope it's it's bringing a lot of value from presentation from Travis and Chirag to everyone here. Actually, can you keep sharing the Q&A slide for me?
I'm presenting in just a second because I will.
Thank you. I think we have. I'm really sorry that we are a little bit over time, but I think it's worth it to see the live demo from Chirag. We have a few questions in the chat box here, so I'm just gonna read it out. Maybe Chirag, Travis, or Haji, if you can answer the question, please feel free to jump in at any time. So we have the first question from Dubey, sorry if I can't pronounce your name. So he says that I work in a digital operations team in a support role for Wipro. I want to switch to cloud and I'm learning it as well. By November mid, I also be giving my GCP certification examination. But wherever I'm searching for a job, they are only looking for experienced. Even Wipro is not willing to take. So after I doing my certification, how do I land a job as a fresher? So maybe this question I can give it to Travis and Chirag to give the answer.
Yeah, can I have a quick, thanks for the question, Subin Dubi. So look, certification is a great first step. It will definitely add to your credentials. But really that next step is putting this new knowledge into practice. One thing we do at Google is we have this thing called 20% projects, where on top of our core role, day-to-day role, we can proactively volunteer for additional projects in some spare time to get experience and exposure and build our practical skills. So this could be a great technique for you to leverage inside your company to proactively seek out the people who run projects that you're interested in gaining experience in and ask if you can contribute on top of your existing core role to really build up your experience, but also your network. And that should really help progress you in the right direction that you're looking to head.
Great.
Thank you, Travis. Chirag, do you have anything to add here? Because I know that you are one of the top, expert at CK. That you have more than 40 certification in that from various cloud platforms. So do you have any advice for him?
Sure. So just want to share that doing certification is a good, like I am doing certification since 2014 when the cloud was very new, and I have done the GCP certification back in 2015 when there was no such pro certification, but a very product specific, like a BigQuery have its own dedicated certification. It also gave me the opportunity when I started looking for a job, but you need to gain now the practical experience. Like I showed in the demo, maybe you also try to put your effort to create something which you can explain in a deeper detail. Due to the time constraint, we have not gone to the code walkthrough and all these, but you can spend time, you can understand each and everything, and that you can put as the hobby project. I am not sure whether you are too much focused on the data side, but the same if you want on the infra side, you can create your portfolio, maybe start from a single virtual machine, breaking it to the multi-tier application, understanding where the load balancers and all those will fit and where the cloud SQL will play its role, and then maybe try to make the next level, that how you can use the containerization, the same application, how you can move it to containers, and maybe a single page, a portfolio, or I usually give example of WordPress. So it will help you, it will boost your confidence, and then you will be able to say the leverage, you will be able to leverage the value of certification. I think it's kind of a justification we all need to do for the certification.
Okay, thanks, Chirag. Thanks, Travis. So we have a second question from Trang Yoon. She's probably working a lot with within the gaming industry. So her question is that, what is the pricing module for GCP Data Warehouse Service, and how Cloud Kinetics and Google Cloud can help to add more value for the gaming business or company?
Great. Okay, so pricing model, as it's a serverless, and I mentioned that we don't need to spin up any infrastructure. So there is no cost of any server or anything. So the pricing model here is the data we scan, because I showed a query which is scanning, it is going to scan a data for around 415 gig. So I will charge in the form of nearest terabyte. So there is a price in especially APAC region, it vary from $6 to $7 per terabyte. So that is the one kind of charge. Now I ran a query of 4 terabyte. So it cost the 4x of that per terabyte. But as I mentioned that we can use a cache result. If it's a big team, we need to run a one-time query, then it will make a very predictable charges, because it will show how much data is going to process. And then there is a storage charge. The storage charges is very minimal, in 2 cents and 1 cent for the long-term storage. And then few API calls are getting used. This is a on-demand pricing. That is the best value proposition from the cloud. That is where cloud transformed the entire industry in this mechanism. And then still some old school traditional they want, because FinOps is still new, and people are looking for kind of a bulk, what I can say, economy of scale, that they want to buy in bulk and they want a maximum discount. That is where some flat rate kind of pricing mechanism is there, that we can reserve some computational power and we will get a discount from Google's side. And the question around the helping, we show that we would like to work as a partner to understand, and obviously gaming is very crucial. Even nowadays a 100 millisecond make a huge difference in the user experience. So we would like to understand from the application, because collection, gaming data collection is something very important to predict what is the next move of player A, player B, or player C. CK will work with the customer end to end, and GCP also play their role, and we will make the success story and a win-win situation. There are, I believe the famous one is Pokemon. Just like to share, Pokemon Go, when they want to launch, they predict only the 5x user will be there from their planned infrastructure, but it goes to 50x. And it is a very big use case for GCP itself. And they were able to handle a 50x of load. And you can understand the Pokemon Go is, I think, sooner or later, or maybe in our past, we have tried that game. Any thoughts, Travis?
Yeah, I think another area where Cloud Kinetics can really help is around de-risking data projects and making sure you get the maximum value out of those projects. Cloud Kinetics has done these projects multiple times. They know where the tripwires are and they know how to avoid them. And that's, and also obviously allows you to not invest so heavily in the internal team if you don't need to.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chirag and Travis. So I hope that the answer is satisfied your question, Trang. We also have the third question from Ankita Jain. Is there any drawback from move data to cloud? If yes, how can we handle them?
Okay, that's like moving to cloud drawback. Again, it is very subjective. I would not say that's a drawback. It's all about the modernize, because on premises, you need to regularly invest and procure, and then you need a lot of manpower to set up all those things. But in cloud, we need to focus on the business process and enhancement. Now, drawback is something from the finance people, I can tell you, their job role is going to change because most of the finance don't understand this on-demand model. And we experience such kind of thing, and we need to give the justification because 1 month the utilization may be low, the next month because of some peak season, depend upon the business, it may high the another month or another quarter, it will be low. So the most of the, what I can say, again, not a drawback, but kind of a typical billing queries came from the finance side. But that is where now finance people are getting educated around this area. That's where the FinOps is growing field, and there is a FinOps what I can say, big community out there who is setting that how the finance people need to do. Right.
Awesome. I think like the trend for today is everyone should go on cloud, and all of the public clouds right now, especially for Google, they have applied the best practice from a lot of successful customer and organization around the world. So I think there's a good direction to move to cloud, right, Chirag? Yeah. I think we are 17 minutes running out of time, so I'm just gonna take the last question from Andrew. Oh, we have another one. Maybe I will take the last question from Nelly and Andrew. Maybe we can spend maybe 2 minutes for each question. So the first question would be, can I run my own existing MS SQL and then later migrate to GCP Analytics service? And from Nelly, what would be the top 5 mistakes the CXO level make when modernizing data analytics?
Okay, Travis, you want to start?
Yeah, I can start to the question about MS SQL. Yeah, absolutely, you can. We have a managed service for MS SQL called Google Cloud SQL, which I'll link shortly. So that's a more than valid destination point to migrate as is, and then start being in a good position to start modernizing and utilizing some more data analytics services like BigQuery, PubSub, Dataflow, etc. So yeah, absolutely can. We have a managed service for that. If you're running it by yourself, we also have Compute Engine, which is a VM, customizable VM service, which you can run your own MS SQL workloads if that's how you're set up at the moment. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes. So just to share, like if anyone is running the analytical workload using MS SQL, compute option can support again all your SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS packages. And without changing too many things, you can again set up the workflow. The end destination can be BigQuery. That is also there. Everything, the plugins are there, so you can deploy and you can create your workflow. And then later, because you're moving from a one database engine to BigQuery, there are few changes required. That is where CK will consult the customer and drive their journey.
Thank you. Thanks, Chirag and Travis. So this is really great, and really useful insights from the experienced one. So again, I want to thank you everyone for stick to the webinar until this time. And before we end the webinar, just to remind you that we have the survey from our organizer here to have learning more feedback from you and the topic that you would like to hear more from Google and also Cloud Kinetics. If you don't have time to do the survey now, don't worry, because we will be sending an email, a thank you email with the link to the survey form so that you can do it in your own time as well. And before we end the webinar, maybe I can ask everyone to be on camera so that we can take a group photo with the speakers today. It would just take a 2 seconds for the screenshot, so don't be shy. Fixing your hair or put like a shirt on if you are working from home. I see a lot of people from my team in Vietnam. Sometimes it takes them 5 seconds to put a video on because they have to put the top on or something. So yeah, I see that Hatchi is already on camera. We have Kama as well. So yeah, thank you, Majumdar, for your feedback, and we're really happy to have the opportunity to work with you as well. So and Kita, if you can help me take the screenshot on my cue, everyone give me your biggest smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, Ankita, and we hope that you enjoyed the webinar today, and we look forward to have you more for our next coming webinars. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Travis.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Travis. Thanks, Chirag. Thanks, V.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Anju. Ankita.
Thank you all.